Record.
Uh,
Okay, girl. Hi.
Hello, Miss Mims. How are you today?
I'm good, Auntie Maim. How are you today?
I'm exhausted, both physically and emotionally, but I'm here.
Well, you know what? We're coming toward the middle of the end of the pandemic,
Yes, it's true. It's
and
true.
and it feels like that is what everybody is feeling.
Yes, I would say that. Hopefully, because hopefully, this podcast will give people some comfort. It will help them to continue to watch things on Hulu. Designing Women now seen on Hulu,
That's
and
exactly right.
hashtag not sponsored.
It's,
Um, oh, hold on.
okay. Well, while I'm holding up, I would like to tell our dear listeners we would like to apologize for
Yes,
being away for a while. We both got
we had a lot of
vaccinated.
life happen.
Yeah,
Yeah, we had a lot of life just happen in the last month.
yes, and we both got vaccinated. I had some family issues, nothing like serious, but some family issues go on. But we're back
Yes,
from
I
outer
also had some.
space.
I had some pet issues on
Oh
my
yeah,
side.
you had some pet issues, um, and like I'm sure the liquor store's been happy with me, but
Oh, yes, girl. Yes. Oh my goodness, so many mules I've had. So many mules. I like doing mules because I like that I can claim that the ginger is good for me.
I, you know, it's good
Right?
for the digestion. That's
That's right.
I
And I have constant stomach problems.
I like having like margaritas because I can say that the lime juice is good for my vitamin C.
There you go. It's
See,
true.
see, and then it constantly those burn my stomach up, but I love them. Lord
Keep
have
away those
mercy.
keep away that scurvy.
Doesn't keep the mange away though. That's the issue. You see.
Well, not much does, dear. Not much does.
So last night, I don't know if you've heard, but in North Carolina here, they have completely different than y'all. We waited till the last minute. We relaxed the mask mandates this weekend.
Oh, oh,
So I went out to a gay bar,
oh my
and
gosh! Not the gay bar.
yes, a gay bar, um, and went in maskless.
Oh
I know, I know. It feels so good to be
my god!
vaccinated.
I'm so happy that way. I think I'm even more happy now because now you can't fucking mask shame me anymore. You're like, why did you take your mask off for that picture? Why, girl? I'm trying to work.
You just make a festive mask, girl. You just make a festive mask.
It's not that I didn't want to make a festive mask; it's just that we take off the. Almost every time where I'm doing stand up, I'm the only one that's in drag doing stand up. So it's going to be a little weird having the mask on because then people are like, is that a woman? Because they can't see my beard.
Girl, they don't think you're a woman.
They do. I have womanly eyes.
What woman? A power lifter. And a power lifter ain't wearing that dress.
I'm sure there's somebody.
No, no, no. You are a drag queen, just like Soccer Channing.
Oh, I wish I had her shoulders.
I know, right? But not her wandering eye.
Ooh, I
I
already
did.
have that.
Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot. I
It's not
apologize.
as bad as my brother's, though.
I know. Sorry. That laugh was inappropriate. Auntie Maim's brother, if you're listening out there, I do apologize for that laugh. Um, I would like to let you know I did. So I have not even thought about this podcast for the past month. Um, I have not looked.
You've had like without telling the audience anything. Let's just be very real. You've had a lot of stuff going on.
I have had a lot of stuff. It's all none of it directly involves me. Like it is literally the extended family. Just some things fell apart, and we tried to put them back together. So I went home for Mother's Day, and we were supposed to record that weekend, and I
Yes,
was
we
just
were.
I got back that Sunday and I was like, girl, I threw my shit down. I had myself a drink and I called out sick on Monday. And that is all she wrote about that.
Yes, I called out. I took off this past Thursday because that's when we were doing the consultation with the vet, and I said I already know that I'm not going to want to work that day. And sure enough, by the end of the day, I said, "What happened to this whole day? I've been kind of a daze."
But so I did just before we started. Like I always watch the episodes one more time before I run this. So I've now watched this episode we're going to review today 3 times.
Yes.
I'm sorry about that. But then I decided to look online just to see how our dear listeners were doing. And we now have 4 or 5 5-star reviews on Apple. And like in the past 2 weeks, we've had 500 listens. And I'm like, well, shit, I should have been paying more attention to that.
Well, I'll tell you right now. So when I did our little Instagram comeback video, 2 different people commented about how excited they were, and they were not people that were like directly related to us.
Do you know these people?
No, not really. Yeah. No, I was like, oh my Lord, this is a thing.
Look at us being popular.
I know, right? I'm so popular.
Okay, yeah. we can't sing more than that because then...
Yeah, well, we'll totally get sued, and I can't afford the royalties after this surgery I just paid for my cat.
Girl, you couldn't afford the royalties before that.
Oh, that's true. Thank you, Galen's Discovery card.
Oh, not Discover. It pays to Discover, not sponsored.
Not sponsored. Hashtag not sponsored.
But he does get cash back for that.
I know he does, and it's actually going to be helpful, I guess. I don't know. I don't even know how that works.
I don't know. The best thing to do is, if you got the cash, but you also have a credit card that does miles for like a frequent flyer thing, when you go buy a car, now this is to put the down payment on a car, you use your credit card or the miles, pay it off directly after. That way you have all the shit ton of miles. And you can like go to Boise. Like it's not that many miles, but it's still something.
Oh, let me just say, back when I used to work for hashtag American Express, I used to love. I know, right? I used to love those calls from people where they were like, "Yeah, I'm gonna put my down payment for my car on the card. So could you go ahead and increase my credit limit by $10,000?" Like,
let me run your credit real quick and see. Beep, beep, beep. No, right? No, sorry. Now I want to reduce it.
I would just be sitting there like, wait, what? Like, you realize like that's not that, okay. I said sure, I'll definitely run it, but you realize like your credit's gonna get checked. They're like, what? I'm like, yeah, that's kind of how it works.
How dare you? How dare you check my credit to increase my
right?
How
to triple my limit? To triple my limit? How dare you?
How dare you? How dare you affect my credit before I get ready to get a car? How dare you?
How dare you, sir? I want those points. How dare you?
They should be free.
I don't miss that world at all, to be honest with you. Even when I started working for like the millionaire billionaire card part of the company, I don't miss that. It was those people have problems.
I'm a little nasally right now. Oh, and to top it all the shit off that's been happening, I got a star in my eye.
Not a star in your eye.
A star in my eye.
Or as the kids used to call it, a star.
A star in my eye. I swear I woke up the other day and like my eye was beet red and like it was in pain and oozing. Oh.
You know what's really funny? Remember I used to get those a lot when I was a kid? I really haven't had one as an adult at all.
My optometrist, now I don't know how much science there is behind this or anything. He swears that it's because people wearing masks more, dust is just staying near the eye and it's getting up there and clogging.
Oh,
I
okay.
don't know how real that is. I just looked at him like he was crazy, and he looked at me
I was
like
gonna
he
say
knew
maybe it's
something.
mascara. Could be mascara, but you're not really wearing
I don't
mascara.
really. I never really liked mascara. I
What?
I've got very dark big lashes anyway, so it just
I know, but girl, it's not the same as mascara
I
and lashes.
know,
Even
I
with dark
know,
lashes,
I
that's not the
know,
same
I
thing.
know. I would just put the lashes on, and the lashes I used to wear were crazy colored, so mascara would just like make them black and crazy colored.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
That's true. Actually, I used to love back when we were doing improv shows before the pandemic. I used to do boy face, but I'd always put on mascara.
I I will always hit up some gunmetal eyeshadow and some eyeliner though. Those are my two. Even for boy face, that is the like I go a little to the gothy side, a little
I've gotten really
gothy.
into what's it called? I've gotten started more into
Poppers.
eyeliner lately.
Oh,
Did
I
you just say poppers?
I did say poppers. Yes.
I heard the most interesting podcast that was talking about poppers.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
They're bad
it's
for you.
called it's the
Sorry.
it was called stuff we didn't know or something like that. But they were talking about poppers and talking about how it got started,
Uh-huh.
and it was all the history of them and
Uh-huh.
everything else. And they basically said that really the only reason that they're illegal now is just because of like the explicit use of the gay population.
Yeah.
Because it really wasn't until it caught on with them that the government even cared.
They aren't illegal. You can buy them as VCR cleaner.
Well, I'm saying like you have to like call like you know what I mean.
Yes.
Like
Well, the
yes,
thing is, they are like there's a very interesting chart somewhere out there that has like lethality versus addiction level, and
yeah,
like poppers are very low lethal, but they are in a weird way sexually addicted because you can get addicted to the high
yes,
to ejaculate. That's
yeah.
probably a nicer way than say come. Um, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Mama Maim, now that you're listening to this.
Really.
So tell everybody what you've been up to recently because your life has been more interesting than mine. And then we'll
Okay,
get started with the show after you talk about yourself for about 5 minutes.
sure.
Something you're not used to.
So let's see. So I have nailed down a recurring monthly stand-up comedy show here in South Florida called
Golf claps.
Laugh Your Ass Off. So it's me and a bunch of queer comics. We're like the only one of these in like the Southeast. I did that. I started doing. I'm like what do you call it? Like a guest anchor on this like gay news network that we have down here now too. So that's actually like I think I do the third Thursdays of the month.
Okay.
It's called like Queer News Tonight. So that's now a
Is it
thing.
a comedy thing or is it a real thing?
No, it's a real thing.
Okay.
It's a real news network.
Okay.
There's that. What else is there? Um oh yeah, we're getting ready to put together a Juneteenth comedy, all black comedian comedy show.
Ooh.
That's gonna be fun, and I'm gonna be making a gorgeous dress for it. I just bought the material yesterday. It's going to be nice. I'm very excited about this. I'm more excited about the dress than anything else. I was like, once the little light bulb went off in my head, I was like, oh my god, I gotta start this now. Juneteenth is not for another month, but I just want to see this dress in reality.
Well, girl, I know the way you work, so you needed to get it done.
I'm actually doing better with that, by the way. I'm no longer procrastinating like I used to. I know. You know what's so funny is that so that show that I was supposed to do a couple of weeks ago, the one that got rained out,
Mm-hmm.
I was ready like 2 days before. Like dresses ready, everything packed, all of that.
Dear listeners, for those of you that do not understand what drag queen time is, that is like 5 months before.
Yeah. Yeah. Like it was really
Did you have
bad.
all your wigs ready too?
Everything was ready. Let me tell you how crazy it was, right? This is actually what happened on the day of. So I finished with work. Oh, stop looking at me like that. I finished with work and I laid everything out. Like I went into the bathroom to start getting all my stuff done, all my makeup and stuff and everything. And mind you, I live like north of the venue because I'm in Broward County. It's in Dade County. And so I'm just doing my makeup, just having myself a little kiki in the bathroom, doing my little lip syncs to like my Kylie Minogue and Jessie Ware and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And I put my my final lash on. So that'll tell you how far into the process I was.
Yep.
I put my final lash on, and then the DJ Hot Pants texted everybody saying the venue got rained out. So I was in full done face drag, and they texted us that. And I was at first like, I was sad because I had really been trying to be much better with my time management than I've ever been in my life. And my sweet husband came home from his office, and he saw everything laid out, and he was like, "Oh my gosh, you're ready!" And as I walked out into the living room, I was like, "I need a hug." This is the worst. But I'm trying my best to like not be.
Now, here's a question for you. Why don't you just get ready there? Is there just no room?
It's just there's room, but like at the same time, it's like. So this place. So it's a bar in there's a neighborhood in Miami called Gramps that's in Wynwood, and they have like a dressing room, a makeup room, and everything. But it's like one of those things that I don't feel comfortable getting ready like that.
Yeah.
Like I just kind of like the time to myself, so I can really.
Yes. I used to. Whenever I got ready, I would like take a hot shower. Get in the mood, turn the lights down, listen to some music, go eat a sandwich downstairs, drink a beer, look at my watch, realized I only had 15 minutes to get ready, run my ass upstairs, throw some shit on, and get the hell out the door. But it felt great.
That answers so many questions for me. Now I have so many more answers than I used to have back in.
I'll be honest with you. The less time I took, the better my makeup looked every single time.
I've heard that before. Everybody's more hyper-focused.
I didn't futz with it. I didn't do anything. I just... Actually, I just painted on a piece of paper, shellacked my face, pulled it down, and was done.
Got it. Just like Marge Simpson. Understood. I realized something the other day, because, I have a t-shirt that I got back when Threadless did their not sponsored. Threadless did their partnership with The Simpsons, and I still have my Everything's Coming Up Millhouse shirt. And then I saw a picture of Millhouse the other day, and I have a pair of glasses, and with my hair the color it was, I said, "Oh my gosh, I've become Millhouse."
I have a controversial opinion.
Okay.
I don't like The Simpsons.
How is that controversial? Lots of people have that opinion.
I've never really liked them.
There's lots of people that have never liked The Simpsons.
I mean, of course, there's good episodes. The Monorail episode, like that, is fantastic television.
Yeah, Mother Maim has never been a fan of The Simpsons. Just so you know.
The Treehouse of Terror with the shitting.
Yes,
that is shitting. Like classic. That is. But see, the thing is, he did so much better with Futurama than he ever did with The Simpsons.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think the thing about The Simpsons, though, and this is like, I guess this is a controversial opinion, but the thing about The Simpsons is it is a very specific type of humor. Like it's almost like a niche kind of humor. Whereas I felt like Futurama was a much more broad kind of humor that a lot of people could really appreciate. But yeah, The Simpsons is definitely, I can easily see how it's not for every single person, because it is a very interesting kind of comedy.
Well, now, speaking of broads, how about we get into episode 10?
I'm Julia Sugarbakers. I'm Julia Sugarbakers. I'm Julia Sugarbakers. I'm Julia Sugarbakers. And that's Marjorie. Just so you will know, and your children will someday know, is the night the lights went out in Georgia. The lights went out, the lights went out, the lights went out, the lights went out. And that is the night the lights went out in Georgia.
I'm sorry, I didn't know.
Well, now you do.
Yes, episode 10. Hey,
Yeah.
guess what?
What?
I love the fact that we took our little sabbatical.
Uh-huh.
And now we're in the double digits.
We are in the double digits. Double digits.
No, right?
Double
I'm very proud of us.
digits.
Like we got a long haul to still go. But we got to double digits.
Yeah, we actually made it to 10, which is something I didn't know we do when we first started this. Did you?
I mean, I hoped we would, but
I was happy at 5, and now we've doubled it.
I was too. I was happy. People were like listening to us. Like 10
Yes.
people were listening to us. I
And
was
now,
like, oh,
now
wow.
we're up to 500 plays. I don't know how many people that is.
I don't know either.
I don't know. Maybe if we get up to 1,000 plays, we could start getting some commercial sponsors.
Maybe.
Oh, my
So
God.
everyone that's listening right now, if you're one of the 500 listeners or 500 listens, make sure to
not listeners.
make sure to
hosts,
share
dear,
us.
not
Make sure to share us with your friends and family and everyone else. Even if you don't even know what Designing Women is, it doesn't really matter. We know that you're just listening to listen to us be stupid. But just tell everybody,
That way we can start, throwing a Sonos sponsorship in the middle of all this.
right? Or maybe like the Georgia Board of Tourism. Although that would be kind of problematic for the two of us, I think.
It would
at
be
this
since
point.
I'm from North Carolina and you're now a Florida. You're now a Florida man.
And also we're giant flaming homosexuals, and also I'm a minority. There's a lot of things. We had a lot of strikes against us. I don't think that.
I mean, they elected a minority to senator now, so everything's okay.
Sure.
So episode 10,
The
Slumber Party.
This is okay. So I'm excited because I actually watched this episode I think 4 times.
Oh God.
And just to refresh my mind, right? Each time I thought we were going to be back. And I actually didn't mind it. Even on the 4th time, I was like, there was a lot of funny little lines in this one that I found were really excellent.
Well, tell them when this aired, because that's what you do.
I forgot to write it down. I know it was in 1986 because the next episode takes place in New Year's for 1987. So I know it was in the but I forgot. I'm sorry, audience. This was in late 1986, so we'll just say that.
So we are at Sugar Baker's. Julia has a cold, and Charlene has a very important question for her. She brings up a newspaper, and it's like, Julia, if you take the hat and the beard away, doesn't Ayatollah look like Howard Hughes?
Yes. By the way, just before our listeners, not that this is a spoiler alert. Howard Hughes is also referenced in our next episode as well.
Oh yeah, he is.
So I was trying to do some research and figure out why was Howard Hughes so much in this episode's time frame, but I couldn't find anything specifically about 86 and Howard Hughes. He was in the oeuvre at the time, like the zeitgeist. Yeah, because he was on his deathbed.
Yogi Bear had the weird Hanna-Barbera TV movie about the Spruce Goose at that
Spruce
time.
Goose, that's right.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I love that movie so much when I was a kid.
It was so weird.
It was. The Spruce Goose was such a big deal back then.
Yeah.
The largest airplane made of wood or something like that.
It never flew.
Never flew. They did in Yogi Bear's movie.
I did notice something. It did. I did notice something at the beginning of this episode.
What?
So 2 things.
Yes.
The big chair's back,
Yes.
and Anthony is not there, which means this episode is a dump episode that they are doing in the just before Christmas break.
Well, so
and
yeah,
also,
I felt like this was that kind of episode too, actually.
Yeah. So, God,
I love to. Can I just say real quick? We skipped over the very beginning that I actually thought was pretty awesome. Is
okay.
When Julia was talking to the client and then she hung up and she said that the four of them would stomp her face in.
I
was like, that's a line there. That was a line. Like I wasn't expecting something that violent.
So where am I at? Good Lord, my notes. See. Here's the thing that I did wrong. This is gonna be a mess of an episode, dear listeners, because my notes are from the time I watched this forever ago. So we're just gonna go with them, even though I watched it. I did not look at.
I mean, like at this point. Well, I mean, no, like at this point, like we're talking about having a because they're talking about the kind of like some I don't know if it's like anti-Islamic kind of jokes, but sort of like about the extreme Islamic stuff. And they talked about illicit affairs,
right? And then the joke is they're never going to do that in this country. There's not enough gravel pits about stoning Suzanne for liking an old man. Yeah. But then we have some news. Okay, you got me to the point I need to get to. Some very sad news. Consuela, Connie, she's going by Connie now, has put a curse on Suzanne. She's got a voodoo doll of Suzanne.
Yes.
Oh my God, she's going to be dead by midnight tonight, man. She's going to be dead by midnight tonight.
Oh man, I was so funny. Because in my head I was like, I mean, I guess because of where I live now, right? I was genuinely like, those cultures aren't technically, they're not really along the same lines. Because I was just like, I thought about living down here. I'm like, I don't think that's right. Okay, but it's fine. It was 1986, and they thought all of the cultures were one culture anyway.
Yeah.
So
you're too woke for this. Anyway, Mary Jo enters. She's got a job, but she just doesn't know if she's the right person for it.
He wants to put all this exotic stuff in his bachelor pad like a waterfall.
Yes. And a waterfall in the shower. But then, like, in there, Suzanne just like interrupts us, wants to make sure that Consuela doesn't make it through customs with her hair pieces. Like this.
I wrote that down. I wrote that down specifically.
You can tell that this episode, just dear listeners, you can tell this episode is a throwaway episode because it's going all over the place at this point. Yes.
I'm going to say this real quick
about
throwaway episodes. Specifically, this series is throwaway episodes. They have consistently been the funniest episodes because the jokes are flying fast and loose nonstop because there's not really much plot at all.
I will agree with that. There is nobody knows what's going on, so they're just talking their way through it.
Like I timed it. I was literally like I was kind of timing it the last time I watched it. They did the joke about the hair pieces. Then they still fit in the waterfall in the shower and the joke that Mary Jo said that she's not used to all these fancy things. The first time she saw a bidet, she thought it was a drinking fountain for a toddler. And I was like, how did you guys do that in 3 minutes? Like you got all that done in 3 minutes? What in the world?
So Mary Jo gets a phone call and Claudia is having a slumber party.
That Mary Jo forgot about.
That Mary Jo completely forgot about. They're just going to throw all the dirty stuff up underneath the beds and let the kids come over. Charlene can't go because she's having a date with Mason, who in the last episode was in Tokyo. But so
now he's back. He's back.
Yeah, I mean, no, he's not. But in the order of this episode.
I mean, the show, which makes, once again, not trying to be a spoiler, but Mason being back in this episode makes what happens in the next episode even more awkward because you're like, what's happening, right? Like, I love Charlene and I love Jean Smart, but sometimes I'm like, sometimes these episodes I'm like, I feel like Jean Smart probably should have said something about continuity and how these things are spaced.
So, just as a side note about Jean Smart, she has not sponsored. She has a new show on Showtime called Hacks.
HBO Max.
HBO Max called Hacks. What is on Showtime? Anyway, nothing. So it's on HBO Max. It's called Hacks. I have watched the first episode. It is fantastic. Have you watched it yet?
No, we're gonna watch it tonight.
So you lied to me when you said you were going to watch it last night.
We were, but something happened.
Okay.
Something happened.
I understand.
Drag Race Australia. And
I have not watched that yet, so don't say
Drag Race. No, it was Drag Race Australia, and then we were going to watch it. That's when my significant other fell asleep. So, we kind of have an agreement of, with something we're going to watch together. Well, I'm not going to watch without him. So, yeah.
Well, just as another side thing, have you ever watched Gurren Lagann? Oh, God, if I can even get it out.
Gurren Lagann?
Yes.
Yes.
They say Lagann in the English dub.
Yes, I've watched it. I love it, actually.
We are about 10 episodes in now. I've never watched. I only watched Kill la Kill, which is same studio or same director. It was the same studio as Evangelion. So
did you like Yuri on Ice?
Did I like what?
Did you like Yuri on Ice? Did you watch that?
I never watched Yuri on Ice. It's on my list.
So there is a one. The audience is like, "Are you talking about anime now?" Yes, we're having a little sidebar about
just
anime.
Just a little sidebar. You know what? I may delete it, but probably not because that takes effort.
Exactly. What's the point? No, but if after you watch Yuri on Ice, make sure to watch that one first. But there is actually I don't want to say a ripoff because that's not right. That's just not what they consider it. But it's the same style called the Samurai Gymnast. Okay. It's basically the same as Yuri on Ice, just with gymnastics. But I started watching that one, and it's actually excellent as well. So,
have you watched the? Oh God, I don't even remember what it's called, but I call it the anime of gay rape.
I'm sorry, what?
Yeah, there's an anime with a guy who basically uncomfortably sexually advances himself on another man. And they're both like TV stars and movie stars. I'll find out the name for it. It was I thought it was going to be kind of, oh, that's kitschy. That they're just being uncomfortable. No. And of course, the one who gets semi-raped falls in love with the other one. Yeah, it's very uncomfortable. I will find the name of it so you can hate watch it.
Oh, the anime people.
Oh yeah. Just miss the days of Tenchi and the harems.
Oh my God. One more thing that you said that. So, as the audience doesn't know, I subscribe to basically all of the anime services because that's really what I watch most of the time.
Funimation. You should be watching. Go on.
Yeah, I haven't, but I just recently got a notice from High Dive, who's like the third tier, and they are. It's a little bit weird. So they sent out a thing about basically how do you access adult content, like the non-censored versions of the, like they sent an email specifically about how to do that. And I was like, this is so strange. Yeah. So
Julia can't make it either because she's just not feeling well. She'd rather stay home. Suzanne can't, but she will if Julia will. And finally, Julia's like, "Oh, yeah, sure, why not?"
I love it.
And then Mason calls her big cookie, and then he's
Why did she call him that? That's such a weird thing.
Because he's fat. And then Mason calls. And like he can't make it, he's got stuff to do.
It all falls into place.
It does all fall into place. Who am I missing? Oh no, there's nobody I'm missing. So now we're at Mary Jo's.
So okay. So
yeah.
Exactly. Oh man, that was really annoying. That's like the one thing I wish I could have cut out of this episode because it was very annoying. So here's what was really funny to me about this scene is when Mary Jo said what she said to Claudia, I was like, oh, that's cute. But then when we got to the house, they're all in the basement. So I was like,
yeah.
So why would she tell them to What?
Yeah,
that was
so they're all in the basement. I would like to give Designing Women mad props for hiring about 14 child actors to show the range of child actors available in the wait, they only used the two that they already had. And if I remember correctly, Mary Jo's son doesn't even say anything, so they didn't have to pay union dues. So
yeah, he was dressed as an alligator. I guess he was gonna go scare the girls in his alligator suit.
I don't know. We'll get that in a minute. So a storm approaches, and it's a night of firsts. This is the first time I've worn this sweater with this skirt. Anyway, oh wait, that was
that was earlier.
That was earlier. What is?
They were all talking about. That's when Suzanne went on her little moment where she was talking about all of these things that were happening for the first time.
Right.
It was the first night. You're so funny. It was the first night that they were all going to be spending the night in the same location together. It was yes. So you jumped backwards while thinking you were jumping ahead.
It went forward, then it went backwards. I don't know. Dear listeners, again, it has been a month since I've done this. And I'm just going to keep apologizing in the most uncomfortable way to make all of you uncomfortable.
I feel like this episode should just be called Dear Listeners.
Dear Listeners.
Yes.
Or Where's Anthony?
I know. Where's Anthony?
But I guess they couldn't have a black man staying with all of them and with the children, could they?
Oh, I bet that's exactly right. Well, no. Well, I was going to say in the next episode.
It's a throwaway episode, so he wasn't actually on staff yet.
But I was gonna say, like in the next episode, like he's there all night, but also so is JD. So
yeah, but the big chair's gone, so this next one's not a throwaway episode. So where am I? Oh, okay. Everyone downstairs is already asleep.
Yep, because
these kids are asleep at 11 o'clock. Now I did not have very many slumber parties because I didn't like people.
Did you have any slumber parties?
No, I hate that. What the idea of sleeping on the floor?
I think I only slept over your house like once in our entire childhood.
I doubt that. I didn't enjoy that.
There was I think there was one time I did.
Okay, I don't. I did.
You just weren't into that.
I know. I want my whole bed. I want to be alone. I want to sleep.
Ladies and gentlemen, and everything in between of the audience, what you're hearing right now, this is how Miss Mims has been her whole life.
I like food and sleeping. And you don't really sleep at a slumber party. Now
you're like a 7-year-old that was channeling Marlena Dietrich.
I just want to sleep. But now, then fast forward to my 20s, and I could stay up all night and drink, but then there was alcohol involved.
That's because you're a raging homosexual now.
So then I know, right? Then Mary Jo is turning on her
stereo system.
And it's got a short circuit in it. How many short circuits does this house have? How is this house not burnt down?
Technically, I heard 3. There were 3 over the course of the episode that I can remember. There was the stereo, the lamp, and there was a third thing, but I can't remember what it was.
I think that was just lightning striking. But regardless, what is this? This is 19. I have never been in have you ever been in a house like that?
No.
I mean, even my grandparents' house, which was built in the 50s, never. What is this not? It's just a short circuit. Girl, you're going to shock yourself. Your kid's going to die. Anyway.
What a terrible stereo system if she has a short circuit for that. Jeez.
I know.
That's not even that much current.
So then they play music, and Mary Jo really wants to dance, and nobody will dance with her, and Suzanne will dance with her. And then there's a bunch of lesbians.
Suzanne was upset at first.
Yeah.
Remember, Suzanne was upset at first because Mary Jo didn't ask her. She only asked Julia and Charlene, which I actually thought that was true. That was actually kind of wrong of her.
Yeah. And then Suzanne says yes. And then Julia starts with the lesbian jokes.
The obvious 1980s lesbian joke. Not too harsh, mind you, just enough that people realize what we're joking about.
And then like Mary Jo doesn't remember anybody she danced with having that big of breasts. And then they just sort of stop. And they decide to eat eggs and have a bull session.
Yes, they're because that's the only food they have in the house is eggs.
I know. Like, right? Like, there are teenagers downstairs. Did you not have chips? Did you not have some Totino's pizza rolls? It's the 80s. Some Pop-Tarts? I mean, right? I'm right.
I guess they were trying to think of something. I was about to say, like, maybe they were trying to think of something that would be quintessentially a Southern tradition, but I've never heard of that tradition before.
I mean, the thing that I could think was, what could they eat that was easy for them to make that made it look like they weren't overeating? I don't. That's the only thing, because people were weight conscious back then, and that was the time of the incredible edible egg too. I think.
Oh, the incredible edible egg.
That's probably what it was. It was probably some sort of farm marketing or some shit. Anyway.
The Georgia Egg Bureau.
Yeah, the Georgia, not the Peach Bureau. They should just, we have this big old basket of peaches in October. Yeah, let's eat them.
Gosh, that should have totally been their thing. They should have just done peach pies the way Golden Girls did cheesecakes.
I know, right?
It was sitting right there. They could have it was sitting right there.
So they go to commercial. They come back. They're at a table eating these eggs. Julia is out. Like, I had some friends in high school that were like this. They would be partying until about 10, and then they would just be out like a light.
I always never could understand people like that. I've just never been like that before.
No. So Quentin shows up in an adorable little alligator outfit.
Oh, cute. Oh, my gosh.
She's like, no, go back to bed. Go back to bed, Quentin. And what is he doing up in an alligator outfit?
I'm telling you, he's going to go scare the girls. That's what it was.
That's adorable. So then they start having their bull session. Suzanne says Mary Jo was wimpy, indecisive, and her hair's too frizzy.
I think it's like my favorite thing when she says her hair's frizzy. Oh my gosh.
So Maim, I've got something to tell you about yourself. You're wimpy and decisive, and your hair is too frizzy.
I know, that hit really close to home, didn't it? It really did. I mean, if our audience could see me right now, literally, my hair it's frizzy. So yeah, I have to do like an intensive conditioner tonight to get ready for the work week. But here, okay. Yes. So I found that there was one little missed opportunity that I think would have been really fun on the episode, which was because of the setup of the episode. Why wasn't Quentin used to scare Suzanne?
I don't know.
Like, she got all these circuits and things like that. I was like, oh my gosh, that would have been a really hilarious way if Quentin had like just leapt out from the couch or something like that and like scared her. That would have been so perfect, but no. Missed opportunities.
Yep. So yes.
And they have their little back and forth. So I think that Suzanne, when they talk about Mary Jo being assertive, and she says, yeah, after 6 bourbon balls, I get assertive. I was like, oh no, Mary Jo.
So they go back and forth for a minute or two, and then Claudia comes upstairs and says, could y'all please just shut up? We're trying to sleep.
I don't want to have to come up here and give you another warning.
I know, right? ASMR. my accent does not work very well with that. ASMR.
It's got 3 times the number of syllables. Wow.
Thookie.
Like, if I were to write that out, right, it would be like
yes.
AYYE ESS.
Am.
That would be EHME.
Wait. Mary Jo resents that Suzanne went out with Ted.
Finally, somebody said it. Finally.
I want to show you what I wrote. I wrote finally.
We rated 10 episodes for this. Finally.
This was probably supposed to be the follow-up to that episode. This was fun.
You know what sucks the most is that not only do we finally get this, but it's in a throwaway episode. It's not.
I know.
This is the most important part of this entire thing, and it's surrounded by just silliness.
So Suzanne is jealous of Charlene, Mary Jo, and Julia's friendship. And she's always treated differently. Blah, 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 blah. They're having a very touching moment. Julia wakes up, turns the light on.
They're all hugging, right?
They're all hugging. Turns the light on. There's short circuit, and Suzanne freaks the fuck out. But it's after midnight. She's still alive. We didn't know she'd make it.
So I wrote something down, right? Because I want to give a little bit of props. I said, wrote down here, I said, Suzanne, some of the best physical comedy I've ever seen Delta Burke do.
Yes.
I actually thought that was true, right? She actually let down her whole Suzanne Sugarbaker guard and just got super silly.
It's true. It's true.
And
then Suzanne,
she turns over a new leaf. Then,
because she just says she's not jealous of them.
Yeah, but remember, she says she also wants to do things with her life now that she realizes she's not going to die, like visit people in nursing homes or take a middle-income family out to a fancy restaurant.
That sounds like something I would say.
That does. I thought that too. I was like, that sounds like Mims.
No, I'm just going to take a middle-income family out to a restaurant. It's
charity
middle income. What does that even mean?
Middle income, not even lower income.
No. So she's going to take Mary Jo out to dinner is what I'm hearing. So they Suzanne goes to get something out of Julia's purse. And she finds a tiny little voodoo doll in there.
Yes.
And Suzanne's like, what's this? Julie's like, well, just some voodoo doll I had.
Laying around.
And it turns out that if you have voodoo doll, it protects you against voodoo magic. And Suzanne's very touched and then says she's going to take the couch to fall asleep. And Julia said, well, if I take that pin out of that voodoo doll, then you won't be protected anymore. So she goes back. She decides to sleep on the ground.
I personally thought that Suzanne's argument was completely justified. If she sleeps on the floor, her eyes get puffy. I thought that was a justifiable move.
What she should have said was, I've been worried as hell all day, and now I just need a good place to sleep.
Or, hey, I'm going to go use the bed upstairs.
Oh, the one that Claudia's not using?
Yeah, or the one that Mary Jo is not using. The 2 bedrooms upstairs that aren't being used.
There's only 1 bedroom upstairs. It's a very little house on the prairie.
Yes, that's why it's got.
No, the Waltons. It's the Waltons.
It is very Walton.
I mean, with all these short circuits.
I mean, what else could it possibly be?
So they finally call it a night. Mary Jo asks for somebody to put ice down her PJs for old time's sake. And they all rush over to her.
Once again, Wyatt, I don't like the concept of sleepovers for that sort of thing. I'm like, that doesn't sound fun to me at all.
Not unless it turns into an orgy.
I remember that. I remember people doing that, like in school, like putting ice
Orgies?
down your back.
Oh,
No. What?
like what?
Took a turn. Yeah,
That's like high school. Well, did you find yourself and that's the end of the episode. We're done.
Mary Jo, them bum rushing Mary Jo to put ice down her pajamas. That's the end of the episode.
Did you find yourself in Miss Georgia World in this episode?
Yes, actually, I did. I'm very passionate about this. My Miss Georgia role this time is Julia Sugarbaker in her sleepover, like robe / whatever that you would call that.
Absolutely,
that actually looked great on her.
Very Katharine Hepburn, very Chloe, beautiful. That was mine.
There you go. Oh my gosh, this is the first time we've been in alignment. That's what happens when we take a break. We get our chakras realign.
And the fact I didn't write one down and just agreed with whatever you were going to say.
That works too. I like that one. That one works for me. I wish more things in my life went like that.
So did you enjoy the episode?
Oh yeah, this was a fun, silly one, right? Like it was fun. Like I said, I just really wish because the whole Ted and Suzanne thing was such a big deal when it happened, and it just seemed like it didn't fully get addressed. I just really wish that wasn't in the middle of this, because that's actually, I mean, when you really think about that, like that was actually a pretty painful thing. And I felt like, as much as I love Suzanne Sugarbaker, because I do, her saying the thing she said about if she had another ex that she wouldn't touch them, because I was like, whoa, you are kind of being savage right now. So other than that, I thought it was a delightful episode.
I will say that I liked the episode after talking to you more than actually physically watching it.
I get that a lot from people.
I feel like it was okay. Like it was okay. It was a little racist at points. It was a lot racist at points. But
not racist so much as xenophobic. Right? More xenophobic than racist.
Fine.
What did they say that was racist?
Consuelo put a voodoo curse on her.
Oh, I think of that more as xenophobic.
Okay. I feel like it's racially insensitive. How's that?
I like that better. But I mean, technically, if we're going to be super honest, every time that Consuelo is involved, it's racially insensitive.
Especially when she tries to kill that pig later on.
Exactly. So, I mean, that's kind of built into every Consuelo mention in the show.
It's true. It's true.
Clear.
But
it was the 80s.
In watching it with you, it is far more enjoyable.
Well, I mean, this is the thing I like about 80s sitcoms, though, right? Is that unlike in some of the 90s sitcoms, but mostly 80s sitcoms, is that they did have this very clear delineation between meaningful episodes and throwaway silly episodes.
Yeah.
And you could, I mean, and almost everything you could think about back then. You can think about with Golden Girls. You can think about it with like Night Court. There's always that line between these are just our silliest, jokiest, whatevers. But because they don't have like an impactful thing that happens, you don't remember them. But when you go back and rewatch them, you're like, oh wait, these are actually really funny because they're just throwing jokes around.
So how do you feel about the potential not reboot, but sequel to Night Court? That I sent you that stuff about.
I trust in the deity known as John Larroquette. And the fact that he has at least co-signed onto this, yes, I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful.
I wonder if Marky Post is going to sign.
However, what?
I wonder if Marky Post is going to sign.
Well,
that would be her mother.
That's what I'm really hoping for. Is that Marky Post is involved? Because good gracious, where are you, Marky Post? Please come back. But I'm hopeful, right? But at the same time, there is something to be said about the fact that the world is so different now than it was in the 80s. And when I think about police and the courts and all of those things now, it's hard for me to figure out how it can be done in the same way as it was back then, because it's not, people don't really look at those things the way that they did back then. Like, they don't have the same gravitas as they do now.
No, they do not. I mean, even Riska Hargitay had to move on to a no more sexual thing to like organized crime stuff.
Right. So it's like, so I think that's like my only concern, right? Is that we have, other than like Brooklyn Nine-Nine, where they basically had to absolutely be the most ridiculous cops ever for people to like the show.
Yeah.
It's like, well, if it's going to be like that, I can see how it will be fun. But if they try to insert messages into it and they try to make it,
speaking of cop shows, as we wrap up this episode, I ended up watching on Monday. As I said, I took it off. I ended up watching Major Crimes. That
okay.
Is it Major Crimes? Is that the one with the president from Battlestar Galactica? Anyway, I watched a couple episodes of that because I liked it. It's silly. It was a TNT, TBS, one of those shows. But after it, Rizzoli and Isles came on. And in this episode, hold on. In this episode, speaking of things that are racially insensitive, there was a kid that was murdered because the church that he went to, African church, performed an exorcism on him. Yeah. And the dad left the church and married a white woman. So he was excommunicated from the church. And the mother's the one that took the son to the, yeah.
Wow.
I think that is actually probably racist.
Wow. So, yes.
And this is Rizzoli and Isles is like mid-aughts. Like, it is not that long ago. Like, it is not that long ago.
That was like Cagney and Lacey 2.0.
Yeah, with less sexual tension.
I know. Somehow. Cagney and Lacey. I love you, Cagney. I love you more, Lacey.
Are we gonna bone now?
Yeah, let's go to Philly. Let's go to Philadelphia. I know a nice spot.
What was the name? Okay. What was the name of the cop movie with the woman with the high-pitched voice? It was an 80s cop buddy cop movie.
Are you talking about Police Academy?
No. It was two white women.
Two white women.
Yes, the woman with the high-pitched voice with the like hair.
I don't remember.
Was she the camp counselor? Was she one of the camp counselors in Troop Beverly Hills?
Oh,
she always played like the goofy person.
I don't remember that movie.
I will find this. Dear listeners, if you remember this show, tell us what it is.
One more thing.
Oh goodness! You can save this for our next episode because we've got to do a whole nother 40 minutes of this.
Oh, that's true.
Or unless you're done for the day, and we can do it again next week because this is the most we've talked in a while.
This is a packed episode. Like, we talked for like an hour.
We have. So just keep on chatting, and we'll call it done after this.
We'll call it done after this. Because we have enough. We'll do some more episodes for you next week, audience.
Yeah.
So do you remember in the late 80s, early 90s,
Probably.
the USA Up All Night lady, the blonde lady?
Yeah.
Rhonda Shear?
Yeah.
Rhonda Shear is still around.
What?
Yes. And I saw her last night for the first time in 20 plus years. Mm-hmm. And she is now selling Rhonda Shear designer underwear on QVC. It was a lot. I wasn't prepared. I saw the name first because like on QVC now what they've been doing. Well, I mean, I don't watch QVC that often. This is probably the first time I watched it in many years. But because of I guess the pandemic, there's the studio, and then there's like if it's a celebrity or something like that, they're remotely piped in. And so at first it was the lady, the hostess, doing it, and I was like, I kept looking at the name. I was like, why does that name sound so familiar? And then I realized where I knew the name from. I was like, oh my gosh, that's crazy, right? Like she's actually like still around and doing stuff. And then they cut to her.
What you should do is you should find out when Isaac Mizrahi is on there, because it's just so they have the person in the studio, and there's just him sitting in front, like here, face the camera. Behind him is his grand piano, and he's just like, sweetie, that would look great on you. It's fantastic. Just trust me. And it is like stirrup pants. It is great. That color works on everybody.
I really miss his show. Green. Remember he had that short run show that was on for a little bit, and he'd always end every episode with singing. I love that show so much. He's got a beautiful
Project
singing.
Runway All-Stars?
No, Isaac Mizrahi. I hate you. Isaac Mizrahi.
Isaac Mizrahi Live, wasn't it?
He had that talk show for a little bit.
Yeah.
And I think it was on Bravo back then.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it was so good.
He used to be like, if you actually, dear listeners, if you don't know much about Isaac Mizrahi, only know him from Target and QVC, go back and Google him and look at his real works from the 80s.
Yeah.
They are fantastic. Yeah. Like he had a Met show with some of his original works in it. Like his couture shit was out of this world. And then he sold out, went bankrupt 2 or 3 times. Whatever.
Meh. Right? He's still an icon. He's
still an icon.
Still an icon. Yeah, no, I was trying to explain to my dear hubby about how obsessed with fashion I used to be in the 90s. And he was like, he just kept looking at me like, what? I was like, yes, like I was literally obsessed. And I said, I'm not surprised that I eventually started making my own clothes because I was that obsessed that it seemed almost inevitable.
Yep. I am still trying to find out what the name of this woman called.
Oh my God, you're not going to find out because you vaguely remember her from a vague movie. You're like, I kind of remember her a little bit, but I don't remember out of the entire pantheon of 80s movies which movie she was in.
Yeah. It was like The Heat, but not. It was so much. Which The Heat, if you've never seen, it's pretty funny. Anyway, Maim,
yes.
Tell these people, as I scratch my underarm, where they can find you in the social medias, etc.
Sure. So you can find me on your Instagram at Auntie_Maim. That's MAIM, like I will murder someone. Also, it's Auntie Maim as well on Facebook. If you want to follow our actual Instagram page for the show, it's at Mims and Maim. I also have a Twitter that I use sometimes. That's at Auntie Maim. Also, I'm around. Yeah, so that's where you find me.
And me, the Divine Miss Mims. You can find me at Divine Miss Mims, not the V. Divine Miss Mims on Twitter. The Divine Miss Mims on Instagram. I use Twitter more than Instagram, which is not very much.
You really use your Twitter.
It's so hard to be on social media at the age of 41. Like, it was easy at 40. Then all of a sudden 41 hit, and then
You just turned 41 like a month ago.
I know. Oh, and dear listeners, that's what else happened. I had a birthday thrown in there.
Yeah,
and it was the first time. It was the first time I was vaccinated. My mother was vaccinated. My grandmother was vaccinated. I could have hugged all of them and seen them. It was fantastic, except for the other family drama that was going on at the same time, which put a damper on it. But things are working out.
Yeah. You need to, next time when you go home, you need to go see Mama Maim. Go say hey. He would love to see you.
Oh, how is Mama Maim?
She's fine. She's recovering from that shoulder surgery still. And she's about to do the other shoulder now. So good times.
Oh no.
Mhm.
No.
Yes.
Oh,
She might come visit in the fall, which will be a hoot.
Well, everyone, join us next week for the next episode. New Year's Days.
Yay, our first holiday episode.
I know. So why didn't they do a Christmas episode?
They probably didn't think it was going to be around that long, so they didn't have one prepared.
I mean, that's fair. We've been through some shit.
I'm saying, right? Based on the previous episode, they probably didn't. I mean, like, there's a lot to be said about. Obviously, this audience may or may not be watching the show along with us.
Right.
But when you think about the continuity details of the last few episodes, yes, audience, I do have a degree in this, so I just think about these things sometimes, and it gets kind of boring. But when you think about the continuity of all of this, you can tell that there's not really a linear pattern to anything, and that they're kind of like making the episodes on the fly. So because of that, that's why I don't think there was a Christmas episode, because back then Christmas episodes were a big deal, kind of like how they are in England now, and they didn't have probably the time for that because they weren't sure where the show was even going to be at that point.
But the thing is, I hear you on that. But at the time, they would have bought. They didn't really just buy 13 episodes, right? They usually bought a season.
No, not back then. Back then, it used to be. Back then, a new series would start initially with 13, and then it would get expanded to 26 after a few episodes if the ratings were good.
Okay.
So if you think about it, right, we're only into like episode 10. Next week is episode 11. The week after that is a two-parter. So if you think about, the two-parter arrives at what would have been the end of the 13 episodes. Yeah. So they weren't. It just wasn't initially.
Wait, this was 86, right?
This was 86. We're 86 transitioning into 87. So yeah, it wasn't. It was clearly like the two-parter happens on episode 12 and 13. Like they weren't 100% sure when they wrote all of this out.
We also have something else going up against us too. Hold on.
Reagan.
The 1986 Olympics, I believe.
That would have been the Winter Olympics, though.
Yeah. And it would be going on right this time.
Yeah. So there you go.
Yeah. So
you had to balance things out.
Yep. Well, Maim, it's been real. This has felt good.
This has. It's been cathartic.
It has been. Let's do this again next week.
We have to, yes, because people apparently are listening to us.
If people are listening to us again. I don't know about the Rue Roundup thing, because the way that they're putting the Australian thing on Saturday or on Friday, it's weird.
It was weird. I was confused because I thought it was going to be just like it was for the last country.
Right.
But then it was strange because I started seeing people, because I'm in like gay sanctuary here.
Yeah.
I was seeing viewing parties, but I was like, but are they going to be viewing parties for the whole week before? Because the viewing party is not until Saturday. Are you doing it on Saturdays now? Because all of our viewing parties here have been on Fridays.
Oh. So maybe we can do a view. Maybe we'll wait till Spain comes out at the end of the month and do that, because something tells me that Spain is.
I feel like that's going to be more fun anyway. I feel like Spain's going to be more fun anyway.
Although
not that I don't like Australia. Australia's been fun so far. But there's something about Australia that is a little bit. It's like lacking a little bit of fun on the part of the girls.
Okay.
Like the judges and their interaction to me is more fun than watching the girls.
Oh God, I love the dude judge, Derek Carson Kressley.
Yes.
Oh my God.
He and his little lisp and his fire engine red hair and all of that. I was like, I am here for it.
I will say, if you took him, Alan Carr, Graham Norton, Rue and Michelle. That is sort of my ultimate, like, although I love Carson Kressley and I love Ross Matthews.
Do you? You love them.
Although I like Carson Kressley and I admire Ross Matthews for somehow remaining relevant after Chelsea Handler. I mean, look, he's on the Drew Barrymore show now too.
I know. Somebody else told me that, and I was like, "What?"
Yeah. He's like a sidekick on there.
Get that money, girl. Get that money.
He is no Alan Carr. He is no Graham Norton. The gravitas of those two combined, like, but no.
I think the thing is that there you can tell that those. It's something about the humor, right?
Yeah.
There's something about American humor that does not play well. And maybe this is why Snatch Game is always so difficult. American humor does not do well at volleying. It's just not a thing that we do. So it's like, you can tell even during the American episodes, although their lines are funny, you can tell that they're kind of like written lines. Like there's not a huge amount of spontaneous, here's something funny back.
We are good at burning. We are not good at witty comeback. I will say this about the Australian girls though. It is nice to see people who can lip sync again. Because after watching Britain, it's like, oh God, I just want somebody who can actually lip sync. And then they come back and I'm like, yes, Australia, you're like America. You can actually do it. No other country, like the Dutch were horrible at it.
Oh man, the Dutch were not good at lip syncing at all. Not at all. And at first I was wondering too about that. I was like, man, I wondered if it was just because it was like another country and maybe that's why. But I was like, but these are like standard universal pop songs. Right. So it's not like they wouldn't hear these in a bar and perform them at a bar. It's not like the Dutch only do Dutch
these
songs.
These are the high-end drag queens. I mean, this is what drag queens are supposed to do, right? Like when you get down to it, we're lip sync artists. Like
literally. So it's so funny you put it that way because there's always that joke about lip sync assassin, right? Yeah. And in my head, I literally have thought multiple times. I was like, shouldn't everyone on this show be a lip sync assassin?
Yes, because that's what a drag queen is. We are, although we branch out, we do comedy, we do this at our root. When you get down to it, lip syncing is what you're supposed to be doing. It is the thing you can go into any bar across America and make a buck at.
Put on I Will Survive, lip sync the house down, make your money and your tips.
Yes.
Right?
Or
but
listen.
Funny to me. I have this joke that I do. I have a joke that I do at the and girl. I gotta do that one day. Like one day I'm gonna have to do that in drag. But it's funny because I was thinking about that because I have this joke that I do during my stand-up set where I talk about the fact that I'm the drag queen that does all the things that RuPaul's contestants don't want to do, including comedy, singing live, doing improv, doing stand-up. Like I do all the things they don't want to do, but I'm not on the show because I won't shave my beard. And then I realized I was like, but wait, they don't even do the lip syncing sometimes. I'm like, why are these people on this show? Like, how did they get on the show?
I don't know. Like, I don't know. Well, she's letting bearded ones in on. Yeah, I know.
That, let me just say, right? I know some fierce bearded queens, right? I don't even count myself as a fierce bearded queen because I'm more on the comedic side. But I know some fierce ones. And the fact that some of these people that make it on this show are on the show and that I already know, especially on the American Drag Race, that if they applied for it, they would not even get a callback.
Yep.
All because of that. I'm like, y'all are just ridiculous. Right? Yep. And the thing is that there's not really an outlet. It's not like you can say, oh, well, you can go on Dragula. Dragula is a very specific type of drag competition. So just having a beard is not what you say when you say, oh, just go to Dragula. That's not that's not what that means. Right? Go watch Dragula. It's not just having facial hair. It's actually a very different type of aesthetic.
Are your dogs losing their shit?
Yes, they're losing their shit. So I should just go now because I don't even know why they're losing their shit. So
And on that
I'm
note,
going to go, Miss Mims. I
bye,
hope you have
girl.
yourself a wonderful week ahead. Next week we're going to be talking about New Year's and resolutions, and I can't wait.
And criminals. Bye, girl.
Bye, girl.